Welcome back to my channel. This is Vanessa, and today you're gonna be watching my breastfeeding journey. Hope you enjoy. I thought I was gonna have so much milk. I would leak all the time, and it was the cholesterol that would come out, and I had it coming out like every day. I even started having to wear pads my last few weeks pregnant, and I thought it was gonna be so easy. Well, no, it was not easy. So whenever I gave birth, my birth was a C-section. Immediately they want you to try and breastfeed, and when you lay your baby on you, they like search for the boob so fast. So he latched on, and you know, I was like, oh my god, I'm doing it, like I'm doing it. The doctor did tell me that when the first 40 to 24 hours of Adrian's life, or a baby's life, their stomach is the size of a marble. So the little production that you have is perfectly fine to feed him and get him full and get him happy. So I fed him, and then each time that I could, or every 3 hours as they suggested, I would just feed him and feed him and feed him and feed him. I literally had like my boobs out the whole time because I would just feed him and feed him and feed him and feed him. Then he started getting a little fussy, and I was just like, what's going on? And when he would feed, he would just go like real fast, and I felt like he was getting frustrated. So I called the doctor or the nurse, and I was telling her, I called the nurse actually, and I told her, you know, I feel like I'm not feeding him enough, or I'm not producing enough milk. But the nurse asked me if I was opposed to formula, and I wasn't. Like, as long as my baby was being fed, like that's all that really mattered to me. I wanted to be a breastfeeding mom, but it wasn't like I understood that my baby needed to eat. So anything, you know, anything for Adrian. So I did tell the nurse that my main goal was to breastfeed. So what she told me is that I needed Adrian to continue to be like latched on and sucking, so that it would tell my body to produce milk. So what she suggested to do was get a syringe, and this is actually one of the syringes. So you get the syringe, you put like milk in it, and then Adrian is latched on drinking, and as he's drinking, what we would do, we would put the syringe on the corner of his mouth, and then we would squirt like so slowly so he could get some of the milk. But he would be latched on with the syringe like on the corner of his mouth, like right there, and he would just be like sucking and sucking and sucking. So at this point, I didn't know how much milk he was drinking because I didn't know I was producing milk or not. But I was giving him like a little bit, like milliliters, like a little bit of milk through here, and each day I would give him a little bit more and a little bit more. I would honestly just feed him until he was satisfied. And the nurse did tell me that he needed like 5 milliliters. I don't know, I don't remember exactly the amount, but he would eat like twice that, a lot of milk. So we would feed him with this. This was our must have, and then we would give him like the baby formula that's like already a milk, and we just like pour it out. So we were doing that until I produced milk. In the meantime, while I wasn't feeding him, I was literally like hand pumping. They gave me a pump at the hospital. I was hand pumping. I get so nervous. I was hand pumping like the whole time, and I would not produce any milk. And I was like, bruh, like I thought I was gonna produce so much milk because I was leaking for like weeks and weeks and weeks at the end of my pregnancy, but I wasn't. I didn't end up producing any milk. I was a little sad because it was so painful. It was extremely painful to breastfeed, and I heard that it would be painful, but like my toes would be like this big, and I would just be like, oh babe, like this hurts so much. And he would tell me like, babe, you don't have to do this, like we can't formula feed him, like you don't have to go through this pain. You have already gone through enough pain with my C-section, like you don't have to go through this. And I told him, babe, like to me it just meant a lot. Like I really wanted to breastfeed him, so like I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna breastfeed him. And I know like a few days later, I think I was still in the hospital, I'm not sure, but it was like 3 days later. Like I literally would just like pump with the like the manual hand pump, and I would literally like, there's literally like a dot. And so then what I would do is I would like squirt the milk that I was producing through here, and then I would get some more milk and I would just like mix it up in here, and then I would feed him this as he was latched on. So it was a lot of work. Literally your first like month or 2 months, like all you're thinking about is like pumping and feeding, pumping and feeding, pumping and feeding, and it's every 3 hours. You do not know how fast 3 hours go by? I was pumping every 3 hours. I was eating oatmeal cookies and drinking so much water. Like they gave me a cup at the hospital, and I would literally just like fill that up all day and drink it all day. Like that water was with me at all times, and so I feel like that's what helped. I gave birth on Wednesday, and I think by Sunday like my milk came in, like finally. And when it came in, you just feel like your boobs get super heavy. I was doing all 3 things still. I was pumping a ton, still eating my cookies, and drinking tons and tons and tons of water. Like that's the only liquid I was drinking, and I was drinking it all day. Adrian was latched on, but it was really frustrating feeding him. So finally I went to a lactation consultant, and she the day we went, guess what? The day we went to the lactation consultant, Adrian was on his best behavior. I didn't even recognize whose baby that was. He was so good. I take my shirt off. Like they gave me like the breast friend pillow, and so that pillow is like, it's a pillow and it's flat, and then it like buckles in the back so it doesn't slide out and you know the baby falls. So the Bobby pillow, that's what I didn't like about it, because you put him here and like he just ends up like sliding in and the pillow slides out. But with the breast friend pillow, you like, it's flat, it's comfortable, and it like buckles in the back so it doesn't move. So I put that on, and then I put him there, take my shirt off, and I'm over here complaining about how hard it's been breastfeeding him. Even though I was producing milk, like it was just so hard. So he acts so good. He eats, they weigh him, they say that he drank this much, and it was like literally like 5 minutes of eating, and he had already like drank all the ounces that he needed to drink. I think it was like 4 or 3 ounces. So they were even surprised at how fast he was drinking it, because normally they recommend that you breastfeed on one side for 15 minutes and the other side for 15 minutes, and it's never been like that for me. Adrian eats in like 2-3 minutes and he's full, and it's just like that. And sometimes when he's not full, I feed him on the other side, and yeah, he would just like every 2 to 3 minutes he would just eat. I mean, he would eat really fast. He was never latched on for 30 minutes, because they would say 15 and 15. So that's why I was stressing, because I had this whole app of how to breastfeed, and I was like logging in on which side and everything, and it was never what Google said, you know, or what every like mom breastfeeding said. So I was already like, I was scared, even though he was gaining all the weight and everything. But even whenever I would feed him, like he would choke up all the time. I literally needed, like when I needed to feed him, Jonathan already knew the rule. I needed my Bobby pillow, and I needed like five bird cloths, one underneath him, one on the other side, one on my other boob. It was a lot to feed him. And then so she recommended like nothing. She just told me I was doing everything fine, but I wasn't. Something was wrong, because that day he was just on his best behavior. I'm like struggling. So when then I started doing, I was like pumping and feeding him off a bottle, because I just couldn't. Like it was so painful. I kept putting like nipple cream on them. Like even my shirt touching my nipples was like hurting me. So it was just so painful. What I started finding on YouTube and all the other stuff was tongue tie and tongue tie. I started finding that a lot of babies had tongue tie. So then I was like, oh my God, what if Adrian has that? Because he doesn't like latch on right. Even like putting, like couldn't figure out how to put my nipple in his mouth. And he wouldn't open wide enough. So I was like, oh my God, what if he has tongue tie? Like I think, but then it was like in the back of my mind, like maybe he might have tongue tie. So then like the days go by, and I'm at Target one day, and I find this. I just washed it. It's all dirty. So I find this. So this is like a nipple guard. So you put this, like you put your nipple there, and then you like, it like attaches to your boob. So I found this, and this was like the lifesaver. 2 come in a pack. Well, this was like my holy grail, my lifesaver. Like I could not feed him without this. So what I was doing, I was putting it on my nipple, and I would literally like hold everything, because I would feed him. My like letdown would come. And what your letdown is whenever like your boob gets like rock hard and milk is just squirting out. So the babies, like, they're like sucking really, 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 really fast, and then your letdown comes, and that's when they start sucking like slower. But Adrian would choke up at this point because it was like so much milk at once. So this was kind of stopping like all the milk like shooting into his mouth. But then what it would do is like the milk would come out through the side. So that's why I needed so many burp cloths. But as long as like I was feeding him, I felt good. So then what I was doing is literally anywhere I would go, I would literally just keep this in the middle of my boob. And then whenever I needed to use it, like it was there. And if I had sweat or anything, like I would just clean it with like a pacifier wipe, or else I would just wash it, like rinse it under the sink somewhere. But I literally needed this in my like in the middle of my boobs at all times. So I actually work Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and so Thursday and Friday Jonathan was taking care of Adrian, and then Saturday my mom would take care of him. So this is a Saturday that I'm at work. So I get off and I rush over to this event, but my mom calls me and she tells me that she lost Adrian's pacifier, and Adrian needs his pacifier. And I didn't have this. That day I didn't have this. So I was already freaking out. Like, at least he needs his pacifier. But if anything, I could pump and give him through the bottle, right? Well, we were at this event. We didn't have his pacifier. He was asleep, and I was like, oh my God, yes. Like, if he wakes up, I was already like scared that he would wake up and he would just be hungry or he wanted his pacifier. So the event is like close to ending, and Adrian wakes up. Well, he needed to eat, but I didn't have this, so we were on our way to the store to buy another one of these. So we were on our way to the store to buy another one of these, and so I was just like, if I had a pacifier, I could have like made him wait a teeny bit so that we could get one of these and I could feed him. But he started crying so much, and my baby was such a crybaby, like super colicky, and just crying all the time, super gassy, fussy. So he started crying, and I was like, oh my God. So I didn't have this. So guess what I did? I popped my boob on him, and he latches on perfectly. And I was like, ooh, like this is happening. He's latched on. And I was shook because he had never latched on that well. We had another appointment for the lactation consultant, and I was really not gonna go because he had already been latched on, and like latching on, even though it was still a struggle, he had already been, and I literally had to hold my boob each time I fed him. So like it was still a struggle. But I was like, you know what, like I really don't have much to do. I was at home all the time, so I was like, babe, we have an appointment, like we need to go, you know. So it like gave me an excuse to get ready and like go talk to people. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go. So I go to the appointment, and then this day we have a different consultant. Adrian was acting normal, finally. Like they saw what he's like normal. So he's crying, and I'm feeding him, and even though he is drinking the milk and he's gaining the right amount of weight, but she saw how he was and how he was crying, and then she tells me, you know what, I did notice something. I think you should get your baby checked. You should go to a I don't know the exact word for it, but it's like a dentist that specializes in like little babies. Finally, we take him to the dentist, and they're like, yes, he has tongue tie and lip tie. I was like, lip tie? I hadn't even heard of that. Procedure wasn't too bad. The way she explained it, they would just go in and they would use a laser to cut underneath his tongue. So it's like the bottom part, like that little thing, and then up here it's like that little, I look fucking crazy. Up here it's like that little thing right there. So they would cut the bottom and the top. So she explained that because the tongue was she had tongue tied, the tongue wasn't long enough to like latch on right, and then the top of his lip, since it was like pretty connected to his gums, he wasn't able to, like whenever they breastfeed, their lip has to be flipped out. So their lip has to be like this, like that, like breastfeeding with his lip out, right? So he couldn't do that. So what he actually had a blister right here. The process of getting that fixed was he needed to get the bottom and the top cut with like a laser. And she said that since the babies was so small, at that age, like they really don't have that many they don't have the nerves underneath aren't like there, so he gets it cut, it's not gonna hurt. And it literally was like a 30-second procedure. She asked me to bring like one of the swaddles so we can, like, you know, hold them down. And she says that we can't be in the room because, you know, it's hard to watch like your baby cry that hard and you're like not able to grab them. So I was really scared to leave him in the room by himself, but she did say it was a 30-second process. So like if anything, it was gonna take a minute. So that made me feel better because I was literally like a door away, and like it didn't take that long. I hear him crying for like 30 seconds, and as soon as she calls me in like really fast, like we had literally like just sat down, she calls us back and she says like it's done. So I didn't see any bleeding from the top or the bottom, but she did show me like how it was cut. So he cries a little bit more because she's showing it to me. And then she shows me how I'm supposed to do like the exercise treatment. And what you need to do is like push his tongue up 10 times every single day, twice a day. So you push it up, and then you do the same thing with the lip, because like any cut, it can heal back again. So like, why am I gonna do this for no reason, right? So every single day we had to put a solution in there, get a Q-tip and like put it underneath and up here, and we did that twice a day, and then we pushed on it. And it was a process for him to learn how to like latch on. So we were still kind of using this, but not all the time, and it was just getting better and better and better and better. But man, like colic and tongue tie and everything was just so hard, because this was until he was like 6 weeks. And then there was like still, oh, she said like however old he is, that's how much he would need, that's how much time he would need to recover. I felt like I recovered a lot faster, like maybe like a month, but it was hard because we had to lay him down and like swaddle him and do it, and he would cry. And it was hard, but it's like, it's for his own good, you know? At this point, I would breastfeed him on one side, and then I would pump from the other, but I would use like the hand pump. Or sometimes I wouldn't even do that. I literally would just feed him, and then once I was done feeding him, I would pump whatever was left in my boobs. And I kept doing that, and I wanted to store so much milk. So I would, I heard that if you, I did my little research on YouTube, and I saw that if you want to produce more milk, all you need to do is to pump for like another minute, and that will tell your body that you need more milk. So I was doing like 5 extra minutes. I was using the Spectra pump that I got from my insurance. So then I went back to work at 6 weeks. Yeah, I went back to work when Adrian was 6 weeks. So while I was at work, I was like using my manual pump because that's what I could carry in my bag. And I was struggling because I'm a hairstylist, and you know, you're behind the chair the whole time, and the type of work that I do, like I need to be watching the hair every 15, like if something is processing, I'm like opening that foil every 15 minutes to make sure that the integrity is there. So I can't leave my clients for like 30 minutes to go pump. So I ended up getting the LV pump. I got my LV pumps, and these have been the lifesaver for a working mom, because if I didn't have these, I don't think I would be breastfeeding my baby, because you know, the day goes by so fast, and you have to pump every 3 hours. That's really, really hard. The time is going by fast, especially if you don't have like, you know, the time to sit down or a room to go pump in. So these have literally been the lifesaver. These are amazing. So like there's an app for these, so sometimes they're like in my boob, and I literally like open the app and I time it for 15 minutes and then I'm good. But also if like they get full within like, because mine literally get full in like 8 minutes, so they automatically stop once they're full, and then I leave it there until I get a chance. I leave them there until I get a chance to go back in the bag and like pour it out into a bag. And the type of bags that I use these, And yes, they take a lot, they do take up a lot of room in your fridge. But what I do is, so you pump, the milk is stored in this little container. I take this little green thing off, and then I just pour my milk in here. It stops at 4, so then I like pump them out, and normally I put them back in again because I still have more milk. So my mom takes care of him Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but I only work till like 1 o'clock. I don't work that much. Maybe like, there's been times where like it's color. You don't know what time you're gonna stop, and Adrian's moving again. I'm scared. Okay, so this is little Adrian. Look how cute he is. Okay, so then what I do, I put the milk in here. He's a very active baby. I literally see some moms with their babies on YouTube, and their baby just sits there like this, just staring. I'm like, I wish. Look at this baby. He just watch. He just woke up, so he's a bit more chill. But normally he's very active. Fix your hair. You're on YouTube. Fix your hair. So I put my milk here, I freeze it. So she just boils up some water, takes it off the stove, or even sometimes she just gets warm water, like hot water from the actual sink, and she just puts it back in there. Once it's ready to drink, what you do is, this is the bottled part. So what you do is you just put it through here. It clicks right there. And then you open this, and then you pop this part on. So you pop this part on, and Adrian already like, he's down to eat this, you know? Right, Adrian? Look at him. Look how he's looking at this bottle. I put my hand in here and I press the air out. And once the milk hits the top, it even squirts out a bit. Then it's ready to eat. But the moment you put this upright, the air starts going back inside. But if you keep it sideways, the air won't come out. Because sometimes when I'm at work, what's wrong? You want a toy? You want a toy? He does not like to be just chill. And sometimes my battery, like, I'm really bad at charging these. I'm so bad. But they're charged right now. But whenever these are dead, what I do is I use the haka, and all you have to do is put your boob on it and go like this, like a little bit. And so that acts as if it's like sucking, and then you feel the letdown, and then you let go, and the milk is just pouring out. And this actually only holds 4 ounces. I get my letdown, and then I pour it into the bag, and then I do it again, and then I get some more letdown, and then I pour it in the bag, and then I do the other boob. So I typically only do this at work like once in a while, or sometimes Adrian, like, some days I produce more milk than others. I don't know what's going on, because he's a little fat boy. Y'all need to see him. Ugh. Look at him. Adrian. Look at this little fat boy. Look at this little fat boy. Even the doctor tells me how he's like a little bit above average on the weight scale. But it's really good. It makes me feel proud because he's eating my milk, and my milk is causing him to gain all that weight. And he just started eating solids, and he's not even like mastering it. But he's mainly just breastfed all day. And to this day, he when he's with me, he gets very attached, and he wants to breastfeed. Like, he wants to breastfeed every hour. He wants to like breastfeed every hour, sometimes he goes 3 hours, but it's very rare. When I'm around him, he feeds like every hour and a half, every 2 hours, and it's like he's only on there for like 2 minutes and he's good. But whenever he's with my mom, he does wait the 3 hours, but the instant he sees me, he knows like I'm boob time. And it's so cute because like we lay down and he's just like reaching over and like trying to grab my boob. It's so cute. He loves me. I can't believe I have a baby, y'all. He's so cute. Hey, it's not even that, like, I don't care about babies cute or not, but like, this baby was created with so much love, and I wanted him for so many years, and I'm just so grateful that I have my, I love you more. He told me he loved me. I did want to make this disclosure that, you know, that not everyone can, sorry guys, he farts so much. But, you know, a fed baby, like Beauty Bird's video, I think she posted it like a day ago. She how she said, you know, dude, his farts smell, Adrian. But a fed baby is, you know, a happy baby. Especially my body was able to produce the milk, and yeah, it was painful and I like stuck through it, but the only reason I stuck through it was because I kept seeing improvements. And if you don't see like anything getting better, like don't go through that emotional state. Like you already are taking care of a baby. Don't you're already taking care of a baby. There's already a lot. Like your body already went through a lot. If you're unable to breastfeed, like don't be hard on yourself. Like I said, this is my journey with breastfeeding. These are the tips and tricks that helped me produce more milk and get through it. And yeah, look guys, y'all want to see how I make this baby smile? Tika 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 tika, tika 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 tika. Again, y'all want to see how I make this baby smile? Tika 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 tika, tika 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 tika. He's so ticklish. Tika 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 tika, tika 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 tika. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed.